On 14th of April, I was 7.7k, and on 8th May, I reached 9k MMR. So in around 25 days, I managed to gain 1300 MMR, and in this video, I will explain how I was able to grind like a smurf on 120 plus ping in the EU server. The biggest factor in my success was my mentality, and I feel like this is the one thing that can make or break any player. Before this grind, I had Q anxiety and was unable to play a lot of Dota. If you look at my Dota buff, I didn't play much ranked for a month before this grind, but during this grind, I was able to play more than 10 pubs a day. In order to play 10 pubs a day, you either have to be enjoying the game a lot or you have to be dead inside. Usually, if you are dead inside, then there's a very less chance you will actually climb. In short, I was enjoying the game a lot to be able to play 10 pubs a day, especially in an MMR bracket where rank rolls is not a thing, so there's more potential of game ruiners, hence resulting in a lower match quality. Now the question is, how was I able to shift from having Q anxiety to playing 10 pubs a day whilst also enjoying them? The thing about Dota is that you will enjoy the game as long as you are focused on yourself and not external factors that are out of your control. At the start of this grind, I didn't exactly have a great mentality. I was playing while focusing on the fact that, oh, my position 5 is so bad. He doesn't know how to block the large camp. Oh, my mid laner's a bot. You know, the standard blame game, and then eventually I came to a realization that if I have bad players in my team, if I have griefers in my team, they will also be on the enemy team, and the game will balance it out on its own in the long run. The only way I can have griefers in my team and not on the enemy team is if Gaben has a personal problem with me and has hired an attorney to give me the worst possible games, which is very unlikely. Once I convinced my brain that I am indeed not cursed, I started focusing on games that I actually have control over, and for me to win those games, all I had to do was perform at my best. I did not watch any of my own replay stream proof, I did not watch any streams. What I did do was improve in real time, which basically means I was noticing my own mistakes and shortcomings inside the game. Now this is only possible once you remove the veil that is limiting your progress. In this case, the veil was me trying to focus on how badly my teammates are doing rather than focusing on my own gameplay. Once I removed this veil, I started noticing my own shortcomings so easily, and I was more inclined to focus on them, and with that, I was more motivated to play Dota. It was like, if I lose, it's either because I'm bad or I'm getting griefed, and out of these two, I have only control over one thing, so I can focus on getting better. This made the whole process a lot more fun and allowed me to be fully present inside the game. Some examples of my improvement include the fact that my courier kept dying in the laning phase because I wasn't paying attention to the pathing of the courier. Since my awareness was more abundant than usual, I started fixing that issue, and because of that, my laning in general got much better since I actually got the items that I needed. Another example is in the laning phase. I was missing a lot of last hits because the enemy would aggro creeps and I would mistime my attacks. Usually this would be annoying and I would blame the opponent instead of figuring out how to fix this, but with the higher mental awareness, I was able to fix this. There are a lot of other examples as well, but for every player this would be different. You can only notice these things when you actually focus on your own self. Dota is very simple. All you have to remember is that if you're losing, you either suck or you had a griefer in your team. And if you had a griefer in your team, there were probably a lot of games where the enemy also had a griefer. So the only thing you have control over is getting better, and nothing is more fun than improving. Other than this, I focused on what I already excel at. I did not play a bunch of different heroes. In fact, around half of the games in this grind were on my best hero, which is Templar Assassin. Pros like Quinn have said that this hero absolutely sucks at the moment, but since I have 3000 plus games on this hero, I feel like I can win with her in any bracket. Other than that, I played meta heroes like Lifestealer, Faceless Void, Anti-Mage, and Luna, and had great success with them. The point here is basically play your best heroes and do not play more than 3 heroes. If you see any highly ranked player, even pros, you will see that when they climb a bunch of ranks, they are spamming heroes rather than being amazingly versatile. I played an insane amount of games, at least I think so. Towards the end of the grind, I was playing 10 to 12 pubs every day, that too on stream, and weirdly enough, I was having a great time. Not just in Dota, but in general, you can only give your best to a certain task for a certain amount of time, and anything after that is just low quality. For example, for some people, 5 games is where they can play at their best, and after that, the quality of their gameplay decreases, which in return leads to losses. Every player has it different, and you should experiment it and see what suits you. I didn't exactly play 10 to 12 games in one sitting. I would take an hour or 2 breaks in between, so you can try that as well. After reaching 9k, I realized that I didn't have the same drive or will to grind MMR as I did when I was grinding 9k, which basically made me perform worse. So the thing that you should absolutely keep in mind is that you shouldn't brute force Dota. Play when you actually have the desire to play. For me, when I was fixated on getting 9k, I was skipping the gym, I wasn't eating right after waking up, and was grinding pubs so I didn't feel fatigued. Basically, I had an insane amount of urge and desire to play the game, and it showed results. Lastly, something that accelerated my grind was the double downs. God, I love Gaben for this. Now don't get me wrong, double downs could have also dropped me from 7k to 6k, but there's an extra strategy towards using them properly. At least I think so. At the start, I was like 10 and 10 in terms of my wins and losses from double downs, so basically no gains or losses. Then I started figuring out how to use double downs properly. I don't know how much of this would be applicable in lower brackets, but in Immortal Draft, which is 6.5k plus, I truly believe this is the key. I started looking at my draft and the enemy draft. Now this seems obvious, but lanes and core matchups is what you need to focus on. You need to see how your lane and your teammates' lanes will go, and for this you need to have an understanding of heroes and their matchups. If I saw that I had a relatively free game for my hero and my side lanes have a higher chance of winning than the enemies, I would always double down. Lanes mostly determine the outcome of pubs unless of course you throw the game and the enemy has a better late game, which is a skill issue. Sometimes you will run into games where not only are your lanes giga strong, but your mid to late game is also superior. Those games are an easy double. Other than this, I looked at the potential MMR gain, but I think this is only applicable in Immortal Draft. Basically, if I knew that the average MMR of my team was lower than the enemy, then if I doubled, I would gain more and lose less. For example, there were some games where if I lost, I would only lose 10 MMR, but if I would win those games, I would get a whooping plus 40. And if you doubled on those games, you can potentially only lose 20 MMR and gain 80. Basically low risk and really high reward. But unless your draft actually has a chance, I wouldn't double in these games. By using this strat, I increased my double down win rate from 50% to a whooping 90%. I hope this helps you as well. The purpose of making this video is to help you guys, but also if I ever lose myself in the midst of the toxic pubs that I play on a daily basis, I can look back at this video and not fall astray. Anyways, I'll be grinding for 10k with the same mentality, and if you want to watch me do it, I stream on a regular basis on Twitch, which you can check out in the description. Other than this, if you want to get coached by me, my Discord channel is also in the description. Hope this was helpful. Bye bye.